Hi, welcome back to Lockdown Kitchen. I'm Brian Davis, the amateur cook with time on his hands. Today, I'm going to make for you a very simple pizza recipe. It's based on a recipe that I found on YouTube from the legendary late Steve Hall and his Smoking Red channel. Unfortunately, he's passed away, but I thought I'd try his simple pizza dough recipe, which consists of flour and yogurt, and make some pizza for the first time. My recipe is a little bit different from what Steve used. I'm using all-purpose flour and the atta or wheat flour with extra cereals in that I used in my chapati video. I'm also using regular low-fat plain yogurt instead of Greek yogurt. What's the reason for that? I find Greek yogurt quite expensive. Also, I thought, let's see if we can get the calories down by using low fat. That was a suggestion from my sister, so I've incorporated it into the recipe. Okay, I'm going to start with my seasoning mix, which is 1 teaspoon of Himalayan pink salt, 1 teaspoon of brown pepper, and 1 teaspoon of onion powder. This wasn't in the original recipe. The original recipe just used all-purpose flour on its own. So that goes in. I'm then going to put in 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour, and then 3/4 of a cup of wheat flour with mouldy grains. I like the combination. I like the flavour that it provides to the dough. Stir around. Then I'm going to use just 1 cup of low-fat yogurt. In the original recipe, Steve used Greek yogurt. I find Greek yogurt quite expensive. That's the purpose for me trying this recipe, is to use seasoned flour and low-fat yogurt and my blend of 2 different flours. We're going to put that in there, and then we're going to start mixing it in till it forms a nice dough. I'll start with the spatula, and as I've incorporated most of the flour into the yogurt, I will then start to use my hands. There we are, you can see now it's starting to form a dough, and I'm now just using my hands to knead it. See, you can see the consistency. I'm actually going to, once I've finished kneading it, I'm going to leave it for 45 minutes. It does need a little bit more flour. It was a little bit sticky, you see, so what I'm doing is I'm just dusting on a bit of flour there with my hands until I get it to a consistency where it's not so sticky. Yeah, it doesn't stick to my hands anymore, so nice. So that will do. So we'll just leave that there, and I'll be back to make the pizza. There's our dough now. It's been resting for about 45 minutes. I'm just going to roll it out slightly and then finish it in my 12-inch by 12-inch or 300mm by 300mm baking tray. So spread a little bit of flour out on the surface. Just going to push it down and then we can put that in there now, and then we can just use our hands to smash it out to the corners. We can push that out. That's our base, pretty much done. Okay, the toppings we're going to put on. This is the meat side. I've got some beef chorizo with mushrooms. We're going to use some onions and finish off on the top with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. The other one's going to be a take on a Hawaiian piece where I'm going to use pineapple. Big controversy on pineapple because Gordon Ramsay thinks you shouldn't put pineapple on pizza. Guess what? Everyone I speak to says it's a good idea. So with the pineapple, we've got some cherry tomatoes, we've got some garlic, and we're going to put some blue cheese and cayenne pepper to finish that off at the end to counter the sweetness. We've got our homemade pizza sauce, which you saw yesterday. And for my base cheeses, I'm using mozzarella and I'm using French Emmental. I like the combination of those two, both in texture, and the Emmental is a little bit stronger in taste than the mozzarella, so I find it adds something nice, a nice flavour to my pizzas. So go on with the pizza sauce. Be generous, you know. My dog's just sniffing around Wolf. Wherever I'm cooking, he usually sits down, but when there's any meat around, he has to come over and just try and check it out. I give him a dirty look and then he goes back and sits down. At this stage, I like to put, if I'm using onions or garlic, I like to put them on now before I put any cheese on. So you can see I've actually cooked off my onions. That's because I find if I use them just raw, and I've only fried them off for 2 or 3 minutes, it just gives them a sweeter, a sweeter taste in the pizza. Same with the garlic. You can see I've just stuck it in the wok for a couple of minutes, just to take the edge off. When I use raw garlic, I find it stays in pizza, it stays a raw taste, which is not what I'm looking to achieve. Okay. Now on my cheeses, first mozzarella, and be generous, you know, it's I used to love watching Steve do his pizzas. There we go, so we've got our cheese on. Now we're ready to put our toppings on. So that should do that side. That pineapple. There you go. Now I'm putting the vegetarian one together. The dog's just sat down and gone to sleep. Now what I'm going to do is just finish this with some Parmesan cheese on this side. Just on this side, I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of cayenne pepper, just to offset some of the sweetness of the pineapple and the tomatoes. Just not too much, just want a hint of that. And then I'm going to finish this with some blue cheese. There. Okay, we're done. This is going to go into the oven. I put it in very high temperature, 250 degrees C, and I'll bake it for 20 to 25 minutes. I use a high temperature because remember, pizzas are normally cooked in pizza ovens at very high temperatures, so I'm just trying to replicate that at home. And there we go, 20 minutes at 250. See, it smells and looks amazing. I'm just going to let that cool down. We'll take it out of the pan and then we'll taste it. All sliced up and ready to taste. Let's start with the beef chorizo and mushroom. Really good. Nice thin dough base. The cheeses have come out really well. The Parmesan finishing it off. You You can really taste it. Let's try the Gordon Ramsay special. Pineapple. The garlic really works in the base. Goes well with the pineapple and nice with the tomatoes as well. Blue cheese, just a nice taste of blue cheese there. I like them both. My name's Brian Davis, the amateur cook with time on his hands. Coming this week, homemade hummus. I've really figured out how to make a really nice smooth hummus at home. I'd like to share that with you. And I'm going to try my first ever Filipino dish, chicken adobo, and I'm going to try and make a vegetarian take on the adobo as well. Stay tuned, subscribe, and see you next time. If you like the recipe, be sure to subscribe and like the video. If you don't like the recipe, no problem, give it a thumbs down.